that you would go for a short period of time, serve your common man from all different backgrounds, whether it's from agriculture, being a farmer, to a lawyer, to doctors and dentists, movie stars, to those in entertainment. As President Trump joked around with his great medical team, well, it's amazing. We all had great television shows, and it's almost as if that totally disqualifies what we had done in the past, even though those shows would showcase their abilities in the business world, in the medical field, like President Trump did with The Apprentice, and like Dr. Oz did with his wonderful show, to get the truth out there. Because sadly, we've been lied to by a legacy media. We've been lied to by those who took over pharmaceuticals, dating back to Rockefeller and Standard Oil. And it was once all a conspiracy theory, but you can actually look these things up. And now with our access to carrying these things around, you can actually take time and study these issues quicker than ever before. And granted, yes, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but that's why we're here to exist for you, to give you this unbridled access to your government that you put into place on November 5th of last year, so that you can make up your mind. Because regardless of political affiliation, Republican, Democrat, Independent, we know our viewers have common sense and believe in making America great again, which is an inclusive movement, which is bigger than just the name Trump. And even President Trump has talked on that on countless occasions. It's not about me, it's about this movement. Personal discussions with the man. He said, it's not about what I did, it's about us. And it's remarkable to have that kind of leadership and that focus, a commander-in-chief who actually talks to the future generations. And when he speaks to young people, especially students, almost every speech I've seen him do when it's a younger audience, it's some of you here, and this is including the University of Alabama at the commencement way back on May 1st. Many of you might be standing here one day. And I'm providing a path where it could be one that is prosperous as we go into another 250 years of this great country. If you're just joining us now, welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network's Live Desk. I'm Robert McNeely. Always a joy to be with you, especially after a vacation, and especially on a day like today, this Monday, August 11th, 2025, which every day is historic in the second term of the Trump White House. But this will be a press conference that is a game changer. This president now focused on not only his 20 promises that became Republican National Committee policy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in July of last year at the convention after the terrible assassination attempt, which took the life of Corey Campitor, great hero firefighter who shielded his family in
Hey, everybody.
Something that should never happen at any
Let me do a quick mic check here.
It should always be peaceful and patriotic, regardless of what is being advocated for. But this president, as I see it, really has three main issues.
The mic sounding good.
As he's succeeded in countless
My voice ain't.
Securing the border, bringing
but
billions for America, trade deals.
That's all good and dandy.
Through countries that have been at odds for generations.
If you can't tell, I'm
now it's
sick as fuck
really
again.
China up against the ropes, as they've done with the tariff program and with.
I'm so
deals,
tired of being
but
sick.
Also Russia and Ukraine, a meeting that will be taking place in Alaska between President Trump and President Putin on
I don't know what
this Friday, but also this.
Trump's going to talk about.
America's cities beautiful again, and he will do that regardless of the demon rat leadership that
But it
has,
seems like
from Muriel Bowser
everybody's there
to Brandon Johnson in Chicago. It's unacceptable. Karen Bass.
Now, if you're wondering why I haven't done a regular video
burning to the ground, and that she needed a mandate,
it's because, well, one, me and my wife are broke.
President Trump said, just let him back.
And two, my editing software, I need to re-up my editing software.
Leadership styles. And President Trump is ensuring that this federal city will be beautiful again, as well as all of America's cities, with these new programs and what he'll be.
It's $40 for me to re-up my editing
Thank you to our
software. I will show you here. Here's my editing software. It's $40 for the year. Normally $50. But if I can raise the $40 in the next 20 days, I could save $10. Because remember, me and my wife are still trying to save money to move. And yeah. So I'm gonna throw my Cash App in there.
Push, as we'd love to see that.
Just in case there's anybody that
there's a few of those out there, but love my Cubbies.
Wants
It'd be
to
fun
donate.
to see them do that. But those Florida Panthers, President Trump's team, his hockey team down in the free Sunshine State, they went back to back with that Stanley Cup. So it can happen. It's tough to do, but we'll see if the Dodgers
what the
are
hell is
able
up
to
with all
do that.
this
So regardless of sports,
changes
culture,
here.
music, or media and politics, trade on anything. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Thank you to angelpaste.com.
So that's my Cash App if anybody wants to
angelpaste.com is your go-to
donate.
Miracle Cream. You've seen me use it here on the network. They are Christian owned and they hire veterans. So all their products, non-GMO, no chemicals, good stuff for the summertime as well, especially that mosquito repellent, and it's natural, as well as the facial spray. They're in the Gulf of America, so they know a thing or two about those humid climates, especially again in these dog days of summer. 10 minutes after the top of the hour.
Oh man, it
Miracle
sucks being
at
sick.
angelpaste.com. Thank you for your sponsorship on the right side of history. And we are looking at a live shot now. The James S. Brady.
Come on, Trump.
Come
on out
Trump
there.
Will hold a press conference scheduled for 10 o'clock. 10 minutes ago, we know he has a busy schedule. He's been nonstop around the clock, and somehow he still finds a way to win 2 club championships at Bedminster and in Westchester at his lovely golf courses, as well as a great time.
In order for me to make normal videos, I need
Prime Minister and the First Minister
to raise that $40
Scotland.
so I can
really a winning success across the board,
you
as
know,
well as peace deals.
get this year's
the man works around the clock, and there really is no one else quite
editing
like him to do this job. And as he's mentioned, who will be that heir apparent to?
Because I know you guys are getting tired of
recently rolling out the
just random videos of
the ideas for the LA
me driving somewhere, me and my wife driving somewhere,
making sure that no men are in women's sports for one,
or me sharing a whole bunch of shorts.
It's likely
because trust me, I can tell. My analytics have
take up that mantle, but Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, also throwing his hat in the ring for Vice President J.D. Vance to lead that ticket. But President Trump saying, yeah, Marco would be great too. There's a lot of great people that are up on the stage.
You know, here's my
in the studio that they created for the auto pen. It looks a lot nicer with the threads of
wish for the next presidential candidate
and common sense.
President Vice
Trump
President
was awarded
J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth
the 1984 medals. The last time they had the summer,
because I still don't trust Marco Rubio as far as I can throw him.
Time that was during the Reagan years. To see that come back to the City of Angels, and
many of you
should be a star-studded
long-time viewers
in what will be the last few months. Of
know that I had the same
sad to think about
feeling about
early months and weeks,
the last vice president
days of this second term, which has been really moved faster than any
Mike
other
Pence. I had to think of his
administration
name, and Bill Barr.
Problems of the
and I got lambasted for saying I didn't trust either one of them.
Clear now,
and
thanks to
I was right,
social media,
as
and
always.
Thanks to President Trump pulling back the curtain, that unequivocally Bill Clinton,
I know everybody's
George
like,
W. Bush,
you just
Barack
brag
Hussein
too
Obama,
much.
and the auto pen.
No, people, I
put
use
this
my
country
fucking
in
brain.
True danger with their never-ending wars.
Like I have said numerous times on this channel,
with the workplace violence. Bill Clinton.
I'm not a 110%
House investigation.
Drinking the Orange Man Kool-Aid Trump supporter.
There's two ways.
I don't own a bit of Trump here.
Both opinions. You have Senator Rand
This
Paul,
channel is all
who has
about
said for
facts.
a long time that Bill Clinton is a sexual predator.
And
he harassed.
I haven't been wrong yet.
And granted, she was an adult. She was
almost 1,000 videos on this version of the Broken
the President
Patriot
of the United States going
YouTube
after a
channel.
young woman who was not much older than his daughter, who was living under the same roof.
Counting the one that got taken
Kelly,
down because I was talking about the governor of Arizona.
That she has.
I did probably well over
did
1,200 videos.
But we know now the way the federal government harassed her in that process. That
And I always say,
FBI
but
sought
I
to
do a
intimidate
video
the entire
that
family. And it
you
ruined her
think
life,
is
ruined her
wrong.
career,
Prove it.
all because of the perverted actions of someone who
Make a
went to
video proving that I was
Epstein's
wrong.
Island at least 28 times
And
via the Lolita Express.
If I was wrong, I'll
which
make
then,
an
as a
apology
sitting
video.
president, would have been Air Force One.
Haven't had to make one yet.
Look forward to this Justice Department getting to the bottom of that story, and we will stay on it wherever the crumbs lead, wherever it does.
And I know I
Because
rub
that's
people
what it's
raw
all about in the media, is
because I
shedding a light
don't.
on those
I'm
in
not all
power.
happy, joy,
Because
joy.
They owe the truth to you, the American people. You employ these people.
But
It's a very cornerstone
just bring
of this
facts.
great nation. It's a constitutional republic, democracy.
And
in
the
action.
fact of the day
They
is
are beholden to you. Sometimes they forget about that.
nobody is going to get
And
arrested.
perhaps Tish James,
Nobody.
the AG attorney, or the
Not
Attorney
Hillary
General of
Clinton, not
New
Bill
York,
Clinton,
or
not
Senator
Barack
Adam
Obama.
Shifty Schiff,
Nobody is
investigation
going
for
to get
mortgage fraud.
arrested.
The same thing they wanted to bring
I
against
see
President
people
Trump
all over
and
social media.
simply
Oh, they're
through
going to
using
indict so and so.
lawfare in the process. So
That's
liberty
all
and
fine
justice
and
for
dandy.
all.
I want to
We
see
look forward
people
to
arrested.
where all these
I want to
weeks
see
and months
fucking
will
mugshots.
lead us into this extraordinary 2025.
And I
one
still
year
keep
that
getting
is,
told,
very, very memorable for a number of
well,
Thank you to
it
our
takes
sponsors here on the
time.
right side of history,
And as I keep saying,
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN,
tick tock, tick tock. The clock is
albendazole,
ticking.
hydrochloroquine, and NAD plus methylene blue, as well as many life-saving medications, 200 essential, in fact.
What
emergency
day
medical kits
is
and
election
antibiotics.
2028
Use code
on?
RSBN10 for that extra 10% off, but it's now 25% off for ivermectin and mebendazole, thanks to Michael Kunzler, the great co-owner of this fine organization. So scan the QR code there, look at your options, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN.
How many
Your
days
go-to
to
for essential
November
health and
7th,
medication, as
2028?
those PBMs, they will not go quietly into the night. Insurance, think about this. Insurance companies actually double dipping and running the pharmacy.
So you heard it.
Allowing you access to
1,184 days
Well, President Trump
till the next
and all family
presidential
pharmacy want to make
election.
sure that that's not the case.
And hi,
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and covepure.com/RSBN. Let's get $200.
This
off
is
of great
100%
machine
fact.
that sits on your countertop, because we know
Leftist crooks will never get arrested.
pediatricians actually
And
did a
I'm not
study
just
on
saying the
all this.
leftist
Doctors
crooks.
found that
I'm
the
saying
fluoride content in the
anybody
water is
in
truly at an unhealthy level.
politics
So it
will
backs
never
up
get
the
arrested.
claims from
It doesn't
Health and
matter
Human Services
who,
Secretary RFK
whether
Jr.
it's Alvin
that
Bragg,
fluoride and
Letitia
other
James,
pesticides
Fannie
and chemicals in
Willis,
your water should not be there. Quite
you
frankly.
know,
And
the
this
governor of
machine will pick
Arizona,
up 99.9%
nobody will get
of
arrested.
all of those harmful substances. So covepure.com/RSBN.
And it's always
for
you guys are
healthy
looking
drinking
over
water,
here too
something all of us
much.
should have. I mean, truly, it's a
We
human
don't want
right.
you
We hear the
looking
Demon
over
Rats always
here, so
speaking
we're going to
about
bring something
human
over
rights and then
here.
making them up willy-nilly.
What am I talking
people should have
about?
access to clean, pure
Well, like a
water.
month and a half
You
ago,
can
we
do
were all
that with
talking about
protecting what matters most
Epstein
in your
files,
home.
the
Drink
Epstein
Pure,
list.
live Pure, covepure.com.
Trump even came out
/RSBN.
and
Get 200
tried to get
off
us to
now
stop talking
with
about
this
it, which
great
I was
company
like,
and
what the fuck,
this
bro?
great device. I have
You
one
ran
myself.
on this.
It's important to make sure that
And then what did they bring
you're
out?
doing what's good for your body. You don't want fluoride in your
Oh,
water. You should have that
you
option.
know,
If you
Obama
want to
did
drink
all
that,
this
go-
stuff.
go right
Russia
ahead. Go get that
collusion.
if you like to. We
Look
know
over
that
here.
some people drink right out of the hose outside, especially during these warm summer months.
That's always
but
how it is,
you should
everyone.
have the option to not consume.
We will never get
covepure.com
the Epstein
/RSBN.
list.
Thank you for your sponsorship.
Never.
On the right side of history, as we await President Trump holding a press conference soon on this important
No
moment,
big name public
making
figure
Washington,
will
D.C.
ever get arrested.
clean again,
I mean, hell, look at that
healthy
actor.
again, enjoyable again.
I can't think of his name
as
right now.
it should be. President Trump
That shot that woman.
on Truth Social
Said it
his
was
press
a
conference announcement
accident.
that he'd be having today, and this was just yesterday.
He's not
Usually
in
we
jail for
have
murder.
the president actually stating that he'll
That,
have a press conference, but as he did
Government
via Truth Social, the
official
beautification press conference
that
in the
shot
press
the
briefing room will
Patriot
not
on
only involve
January 6th.
ending the crime,
He's
murder,
not
and death
arrested.
in our nation's capital, but will also be about cleanliness. and the
Nobody ever
general
gets arrested.
physical renovation
Nobody.
and condition.
And I know
of
I
our
get people
once
telling me all the
beautiful
time,
and
well, so-and-so got
well-maintained
arrested.
capital.
And I'm
We're
like,
not going to allow
who?
people to spend $3.1 billion
who got arrested?
on fixing up a
Oh,
building
this guy
like
way
the
down
Federal
here.
Reserve, which could have been done in a far more
Way
elegant
down
and
here.
time
Not
conducive
anybody
manner.
that's well known.
Time
Somebody
sensitive
way
manner,
down
not the
here.
$50 to $100 million.
You want to really shake things up,
much
President
simpler way.
Trump?
The renovation would have actually been better,
Arrest Hillary
and we
Clinton,
would have
Bill
saved $3
Clinton,
billion
and Barack
traffic
Obama.
jams and never
Give them
ending
all
construction.
mugshots,
Mayor
and on the
Muriel
same day
of DC,
release the
Muriel
Epstein
Bowser is
list.
a good person who has tried,
Unredacted,
but she has been
just
given
put it
many
right out
chances,
there.
and the crime numbers
Because I guarantee
get worse,
the
and the city
people on there
only gets
that
dirtier and less attractive as
were
days go
harmed
on. The American
by
people
these
are not going to put
people
up with this any longer.
probably don't
Just like
fucking
at the field of
care
the border,
if their name gets put out there.
I will.
If the whole fucking
where
list
you
gets
had
put out
zero
there.
illegals
If we got to
coming
burn this
across
motherfucking
from
world to
month
the
month,
ground,
millions
then
in the
we
year
fucking
before,
do it.
I will take care
And
of
I
our
don't care
cherished
who's on the
capital,
list.
and we will make it truly great.
You hurt a
again.
fucking child.
So we look forward to all of that happening.
To quote a great
before
creator, J.D. DeLay,
Tents and the squatters, and
get
all
the
of
wood
mess that was in
chipper.
Washington, D.C. You had a shining city on a hill, and President Trump is ready to do that again, just as President Reagan spoke of now 40 plus years ago, and how important all
And
of that
FYI,
was
everybody,
to
I am not a Reagan fan.
attracting people, because that's what Washington.
No way,
DC is
no
about.
how.
It's literally designed.
Yeah,
not
he
only
did
to
some
honor
cool
George
stuff.
Washington and
But
the early founders,
remember what
but
Reagan
to be
did?
something that is humbling
Trickle
and
down
intimidating
economics.
heads of state.
Oh,
So
if
they
I'm
can
shoving
dialogue
$100
and
in my
discuss.
pocket
It's the greatest home field
and a
advantage
dollar
in all
bill
of
falls
Western
out,
politics, if not the
you're
world.
more than welcome
especially
to
American
bend your
politics.
ass over and
It's right
pick
there
it
at
up.
that podium, 1600 Pennsylvania
That's
Avenue, the
trickle
executive
down
authority
economics.
per Article 2 of the Constitution.
And
And what this president can and cannot do.
how's
Something the
everybody's gas
Democrats
prices?
like to pontificate about on a daily basis.
Didn't
whether
Trump
it's
say
going
he was
through
going to lower the gas
Article
prices?
1 and Section 7 of Clause 2 regarding the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, or regarding
Current
the
gas prices
sovereign
in Mesa,
immunity and
Arizona.
powers that the president has and the executive authority in securing the borders, it's worth taking a look at. Once again, if you have a pocket constitution, I just carry mine
$3.28 a
in
gallon
my bag, but it's
in Mesa,
a
Arizona.
nation that is under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
Yeah.
for all. And we're seeing that play
So
out
much
on a
for
daily basis as the investigators now
Trump lowering
become
gas prices.
the
Trump
investigated,
lowering
and all those
food costs.
who would seek to usurp the authority of this constitution.
My wife just went to Walmart shopping
and then try to prevent
for
him from
groceries.
obtaining a second term.
Spent $150.
They might be going to prison in the future.
And our
We'll see what
kitchen's
happens
still
with all of
empty.
that. But we know now that it's a greater scandal than what happened at Watergate. And if you have a problem with Watergate, you should. But
A lot of
ultimately,
people
it's
did.
child's play, because you have a
I didn't
situation there that
vote
someone
for
wanted
Bush,
to leg
though.
up in an election.
The last time I
Then you
voted
had a president
for
in
a
the form of Barack
presidential
Hussein
candidate
Obama and his
besides
comrades
Trump
who wanted to change the very
was
fabric of
Ross
this nation.
Perot.
That ultimately you don't have a choice. That you
And I
can't
got
solve the
so
problems
much
of the
shit
day
for voting
from
for
the dinner
him.
table or from that
But
one
I'm
vote,
like,
or to ultimately
we
open
don't
up a
need
border
more
with his auto pen,
politicians.
Alejandro Mayorkas, to
We
water
need
down
business people to
each
run this
citizen's
country.
constitutionally and duly protected
We don't
ability
need
to vote. One
politicians.
person, one vote.
I've even had people
Because when
get
you have
mad
a
at me
census
because
that
I'm all
records
about
not only legal residents and
J.D.
citizens,
Vance and
but
Pete
illegal
Hegseth
aliens,
being president and vice
but then
president
completely
in
jams
2028.
and
They say
clogs up
that
the system.
J.D. Vance
When you
isn't
have
smart
those who are
enough to be
benefiting
president. And I'm like,
from your own Social
you
Security,
do realize that
the things that you actually paid into,
that fucking
that you
quick
were
J.D. Vance could be
at least
president.
promised by this government.
One thing
going to
happened to
those
Trump.
who simply did not deserve it because they did it the illegal
He's
way.
already been
And many of
shot
them
at
having times
and
ties to
hit.
criminal organizations in the process, whether it be MS-13,
One
or
little
Tren de
thing,
Aragua,
and J.D.
or the
Vance is
border
president.
cartels. Do not care what they
It's
do.
all the
When it came
people
to
that
human
are all
trafficking,
like,
when it came to
oh,
smuggling
well,
fentanyl and poisons into this
Trump
country,
can run in
they did not care.
2028.
But they sure wanted those benefits.
How? This
President
is how
Trump
they
striking at the
explain it.
heart of this bureaucracy.
Well,
and it
J.D.
is
Vance
all
is going to
connected
run
because
for
it's the
president
illegal
as
migrant
Trump as his
crime,
vice
as well
president.
as what we've seen in our cities.
You know, I'm
Every
like,
city,
that
every
ain't gonna
state,
work because Trump doesn't take a back seat to
it's almost
nobody
as if they live
except
on
maybe his
the southern
wife.
border or even the northern border, because fentanyl was pouring over the Canadian
But their
border
whole thing
thanks
is
to Mexican drug cartels. How the hell
Vance
did
is
they
going to
get
run
that
for president.
to Canada?
Trump's
over
going
the
to be
course
vice
of the last
president.
4 years?
And then right
How are
after
they able to set up
they're
operations
sworn in,
of these
Vance is going to
foreign
step down,
terrorist
making Trump president again.
organizations, not only across our country,
And I'm like,
but
no.
in Canada? So many promises broken from the last administration, and now everything being made up for in the course of 200 plus days of great successes that you're seeing on a daily basis.
So yeah, we got 3.5
at
years,
1600
everyone.
Pennsylvania Avenue.
3.5 years
And this promise was made
to
on November 18th of 2023. So
fix
dating
this
back
country.
even to right after the announcement
We can't
of the
even
re-election
fix
campaign.
Texas.
We're not going to allow child sex mutilation, promised by
'Cause,
President Trump.
one of the things I'm
Stanford
getting
Medicine
tired
ended their
of,
sex change
so tired of,
operations
is
as
the
a result
idle
of all of this.
threats
Children's
from
Hospital Los Angeles
politicians.
closed its doors on
I saw it all over my
the
social
Center
media that
for
they were going to put
Transgender
out
Health and
arrest
Development and
warrants
gender-affirming care,
for the
University of Chicago,
Democrats from Texas that
suspended
fled.
the so-called gender-affirming care for minors, and Rush Medical Center, also in Chicago, halted the
You
so-called
knew where they went.
gender-affirming care for new patients under 18.
Go
The
up
University
there,
of Pennsylvania
fucking
Health
arrest
System
them.
stopped the so-called gender-affirming
Drag them back to
care for
Texas in
patients
fucking
under
handcuffs.
19. And Yale New Haven
But no,
Health
they
and
don't want to
Connecticut
do
Children's
that.
Medical Center announced they're ending the so-called gender-affirming care services. Why does that even matter? Because you had an administration
Yeah,
that would rather focus on
exactly.
that, the mutilation of children,
And that ain't going to happen, everybody.
than securing our
See, I'm
borders.
glad there's
It
smart
was all
people
a
that have
massive
subscribed to my
distraction.
channel.
Remember the campaign trail when President Trump highlighted the naval videos that were actually having men dressing up as women sailors?
Yeah.
I mean, what an
Trump
absolute
said he ain't
distraction.
going to run in
And
2028
that's why you had a
because he
historic
knows he
low in
can't.
recruitment. And that's all changed in 200 plus
I've
days
had
under
people
the
say,
leadership
well,
of
he didn't
the
have
Pentagon
2
Chief and
consecutive
Secretary of Defense
terms.
Pete Hegseth,
Biden
Bronze
was
Star
in
recipient
the middle.
himself,
Doesn't matter. You're allowed
who has
2 terms.
undoubtedly
Whether
contributed to these
you
recruitment
got your
numbers going
first
up. You
term
can
as
actually do
president when you were
PT
40
with
years
the
old
troops.
and your second
It's
term when
actually
you were
someone who was on
70
the front
years
lines
old.
with his fellow
That's
servicemen.
still 2 terms. That's
written
it.
amazing books
And to
on
all the
modern
people that
warriors.
are always like,
So the American
we need to
ethos is
vote
back.
in term
That
limits for
true
Congress.
masculinity and femininity coming back into the
Here's
fold
how stupid
of
you
this
sound.
nation. And it's rather
Congress
funny, but
would have to
it's
vote
great if you invested in American Eagle
on
over
the term
last
limits.
week, because Sydney Sweeney standing up to
You really think
the
people like
Panicans
Nancy
and
Pelosi,
the
Chuck
naysayers
Schumer,
and just
all the other
being
swamp
herself.
is going to vote for
As it
them to
should be.
lose their fucking job?
And we should celebrate
No.
beauty and health
Not going to
and
happen.
being fit in this great country, as Secretary Kennedy has reminded us.
And
to
no,
do,
Trump just
and
can't
to
sign
remove
an
the
executive
poisons
order
out of
for
our water supply. And this all relates
term
back to
limits.
making our cities beautiful.
But I did
and
hear
bold
something. I don't
once
know if there's
again.
any truth to it.
And this will really ultimately be the pinnacle.
But Trump is wanting
of
to
President
bring
Trump's
back
promises,
illegals
as he stated
to work the
on November
farms
4th, the day before
because farmers are
the election
bitching.
day. That was my last rally in Raleigh, Durham. It was an emotional one early that morning.
I say
and then
those
getting on the
farmers that are
plane, heading
bitching
back
about
to
not
Atlanta,
having
and then
people
ultimately
work their
covering it from the
fields,
studio on November 5th.
hire
That
American.
amazing night.
But
President
that's
Trump
right. You got to
reclaiming the
fucking pay
presidency.
more,
We will make America safe again. That was the promise
which
made.
means that you'll have to
Promise was
raise the
kept. After
prices
deporting tens of thousands
of what you're
of
selling.
criminal, illegal aliens, the U.S.
If
is
you
on
sell a
track to see the
tomato for
lowest
50
murder rate
cents
on
that an
record.
illegal picked,
And that's undoubtedly
now you might have to sell
brought
that
more
tomato for
safety
$2.
to Washington, D.C., New York City,
And then
Chicago,
the
Illinois,
American
all the way out
people
to
will
Los Angeles,
bitch
California.
because, oh my God,
But
it's so much more
still in these
expensive.
situations, you
Yeah.
have stories like Big Balls
Buying
himself
American,
beat to a pulp.
if you could find a
I think
quality
people wanna
product
serve
built
their
here
country, and they have to look over their shoulder. Think about all the great
instead
men and
of
women
the
who are working
cheap
in Washington,
Chinese
D.C., and they're taking the
alternative,
transit, they're just
is
walking to
fucking
their jobs.
expensive.
Not a lot of
Why do you
room for
think there
parking
is no
necessarily. It's more of a public
electronics?
transit city.
made in the
Should
USA.
they have to worry about
The only electronic
jumped or
TV,
harassed
the only
or
TV
the situation what happened
that's
in
made here,
Cincinnati to Holly
I
being
think,
sucker
is
punched
the Element
by a
TV.
criminal who was let out of the Fulton
Let me
County
check.
prison system thanks to Fannie Willis,
What
who's too
TV is
busy
made in the US?
throwing lawfare at President Trump. It's the same district attorney
Yeah,
who
Element
allowed someone
Electronics
to be eaten by bed bugs.
is
And
the
it's no
only
exaggeration.
fucking TV.
It looked like a
made
third world
here.
nation in the prison where President Trump was fingerprinted.
And if you've ever
and
had an
ultimately took
Element
the most
TV,
famous headshot.
you know
from
how
the t-shirts and
shitty they
mugs.
are.
I have a couple
A
of them
friend of
myself,
mine bought one,
to
mounted
remind
it
you to
on his
fight,
fucking
fight, and
wall.
always stand up for what you believe in, regardless.
Same
of
wall that had
circumstances,
his front
and
door
willing
on.
to risk everything.
Went out, closed
in
his
order
front
to
door, and the TV
Save
fell
this
off the
great
fucking
country
wall
of ours.
because the plastic was so cheap
So we'll see what
on the
President
back
Trump
of the
has to say
TV
moments from
that
now
it just
as we get
snapped
into
off
the bottom of
where
the
he
hour,
put the bolts
10:30.
in to mount the
President Trump
wall
will hold
mount
a
to it.
press conference on this crucial issue, making America safe again, and namely making our big cities beautiful again, getting people
Look
the
at
mental health treatment they
American-made
need,
cars.
the hospitals, the potentially insane
Garbage.
asylums,
If you can find an
also the
American-made car,
criminals going to jail, not
the only
releasing
actual car that
bad people onto our streets, and inevitably
Chevy makes here
he may have the lowest crime
is a Chevy
rates
Malibu.
in modern
Yeah,
American
they
history
make the
as a result of how
Corvette,
they
but
skyrocketed
that's in a
under the
different
last
fucking class.
administration, and letting foreign terrorist organizations run wild.
Show
in
me a
America's
Chevy
big
Malibu with
cities and
100,000
small
miles
towns.
on it that hasn't been to the shop
one of the
100
great
times
highlights
getting
of
fixed.
Vice President J.D. Vance, even someone he admired, who's a political godfather of sorts for the movement, and
I'll
for
show
his
you
own
my
coming to conservatism and
6-year-old
reform as
Toyota
well. President Ronald
with almost
Reagan was actually
100,000
wrong
miles
on shutting down the insane
that
asylums.
hasn't been to the
It was
shop yet
premature.
to be fixed for
And
anything.
perhaps we see a return
Still
to
got the
that
factory brake
with some of
pads
the
on it.
discussions and the announcements today. Thank you to our sponsors here on Right
And
Side
probably by the
Broadcasting
end of the
Network's live
year,
desk. MyPillow.com.
it will hit
/RSBN.
100,000
Support
miles.
Mike Lindell and RSBN by shopping now with the simple promo code RSBN and by visiting mypillow.com/RSBN.
I mean, hell, you can't even find a quality American-made truck
50% on that, a male and female version of both
without, you
the
know,
My Crosses
engine problems,
and
transmission
MyPillow bed
problems.
sheets going for
There was a guy
as
that bought a
low as
brand new
$24.98.
Chevy
all
Silverado
sizes, all colors.
before his
Multi-use
first oil
MyPillow
change.
2.0.
The engine started
$10,
knocking.
$9.98. It's better than most lunch deals out there. So mypillow.com/RSBN. Call today. Don't delay.
Now, I'm not
800-336-7566.
anti-American when it comes to
You
stuff.
can also donate.
I'm
to
anti-buying
the network.
junk.
Support us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network by going to
Anti-buying junk. Why do you think I always have always owned and will always own a Toyota?
to 801-801. That's texting RSBN
Quality.
to 801-801. You can also send in check money order or just cold hard cash if you
And if
prefer.
you don't believe me,
1550-1550.
go to
Opelika
your
Road,
local
Suite 6,
mechanic
box 344. The loveliest
and
village
ask
on
him,
the plains. That's Auburn, Alabama.
what's the most
36330.
reliable car made?
1550 Opelika Road.
And he's going to say
Suite 6,
Toyota.
box 344.
Used to be a
Auburn,
tie between
Alabama,
Toyota and Nissan, but Nissan has went
36832.
downhill.
If you like what you see here,
And now since
we like
Toyota
bringing it to you.
is
Unbridled
like
access,
part
your go-to
owner of
live
Mazda,
desk before you
Mazda
President
qualities
of the United
came way up.
States, your 50th Vice President, and the 119th Congress in nearly 250 years of this great nation. And that's a packed
everything on my
Press
desk
Brady briefing room
is
We are
all
ready
made
for President Trump. So stay
in either
tuned.
Japan,
The commander-in-chief and
China,
his comments on making
some
America beautiful
Asian
again,
country.
making America safe again, and in turn making
my
America
computer I
great again.
use every single day.
Frankly, I thought he was
That I
too
edit
generous
videos
to Muriel
on.
Bowser, the mayor of Washington D.C.
It's
who he
older
said
than
is a
most
good
people's
person,
kids.
but has simply not been able to do the job. I agree
Still
with him there.
working just
This
fine.
is someone who also did not authorize.
I've got a Dell
sign-off
sitting on my
of
second
more
desk over
National
there.
Guard to protect those
That's
affected
old
on
enough
January
to have a
6th.
fucking
When President
driver's
Trump
license.
authorized. His witness was none other than
Still
FBI
running
Director
perfect.
Kash Patel. Back when he was
I
senior
could take
counsel
that
in the
Dell,
first
sit it on this
administration,
desk, plug it
as well as
in,
other cabinet
and
officials and senior
it'd be
advisors.
just fine. My
Who else was
biggest
there for
live
that?
stream I ever
House
did
Speaker Nancy
when
Pelosi
Trump
at the
was
time,
in the Bronx
who did not
had over
accept
1,000
the
views.
assistance of the President of the United States. and then sought
was
to blame him with that
done
fake committee
on
of
that
Liz Cheney
like
and
17,
Adam
18-year-old
Kinzinger,
Dell
biggest
computer.
losers in the history of Washington, D.C. politics.
Exactly.
As well as that Benny Thompson. Remember Benny Thompson? He wanted to take away Secret
Exactly,
Service
whether it be
protection from the Trumps.
Toyota,
I
Honda.
wonder why that was. We saw what happened over the course of
A
fake
friend of
impeachments
my
and
daughter,
lawfare
his name's Keaton.
to the Russia.
I don't know
hoax,
what
which we know
car he
is
owns
just
now. I haven't talked to the
Crossfire
boy in
Hurricane and
years.
Steele dossier, all
He used to have a
produced by the
Honda
Hillary Clinton
Civic hybrid.
campaign, looking like it was authorized ultimately by Barack
Ran
Hussein
the
Obama, the auto pen,
fucking wheels
and
off
people
of
like
that
James
car.
Comey and John Brennan, the communists
No
who
issues.
wanted their
My
deep
daughter's boyfriend, who was all,
state
we
League
got to
of
buy
Shadows to
American.
prevail against you,
When
the
his Chevy
American people,
Cobalt
because they
got
don't
wrecked.
believe that you
He
can
went
make
out
up
and bought
your
a
mind
brand new
about
Chevy Cruze.
things not only in your government but on a daily
Blew
basis.
the
They
engine
think
up
they're
in
smarter
it
than
within 2 years.
you. And what's exactly smart or
Then tried to blame it on me
wholesome about
because I changed
putting
his
seashells on the beach saying
leaky
8647? The threatening language coming from the
upper
left
radiator
just
hose
continues to
connector piece, thermostat housing
overflow
thing.
like hot magma.
It was a
coming
big
out of
long piece of plastic, about a
the
foot and a
earthquake
half long, that went
and
from the
the
motor
volcano.
to
Sad to
where
see all
you
of
could
it.
put a
Continues
radiator
to
hose
happen
on it.
the far left. As
You
we saw
want to
from
know what
even
that
Texas
plastic
demon rats
was
this
made
past
out of?
week with their gerrymandering
The same
exposure. I'm glad they
shit
exposed themselves in the process.
dollar store ashtrays
And
are
they
made
said
out
they were
of.
going nuclear on the option,
That cheap,
threatening their
crappy
colleagues
black
in
plastic,
Texas.
that was the
And
same
then being
fucking
called
plastic.
heroes by some, like
I put a
DuPage
new one on it.
board chair Deb Conroy, a complete
Told him to
loser
sell
in
a
her
fucking
own
car.
right. There's nothing
He's like, but it's
courageous
a
about
Chevy.
running away from your home state
I'm
and
like,
for
yeah, sell
from
it.
your constituents in order to do the business.
Wasn't 2
that is
weeks later,
granted in your
that
own
piece that I put on
constitution.
there
If you
broke
disagree with
again.
it, stand up
He
and
drove the
make your
car home,
case
overheated
peacefully,
the car,
patriotically.
blew
No,
the
they
engine.
chose to go into posh Hyatt hotels around the dime of Governor Jelly Belly Pritzker of Illinois, and with a population that 44% voted for
I'm going to spend
Donald Trump to
$35,000,
become
$40,000 on a
commander-in-chief,
vehicle.
only 83
It's going to be a Toyota.
or 83% of that congressional representation is that of Democrats. 14 in the House, only 3 Republicans representing
Now,
Illinois
my
at the
problem
federal
now,
level.
because our
2
car,
Democrats, of course,
we will have
in
it
the
paid
Senate.
off
The height of
at the end of
hypocrisy.
next year.
And just like the 13th district of Illinois,
Is
the way it's shaped like an
I'm having a
earthworm
hard time
LSD,
finding a
as
Toyota
one late night host put it.
that ain't got
It's
that
good to
stupid
see
start
that the
stop
legacy media is
shit
actually
on
being
it.
fair for once. Scrub
Which,
back to
thanks to our
NBC
federal
and Meet the
government,
Press, and
all
that
new
anchor,
cars
the way
have
they
now.
were actually asking questions.
And I
of
think it's the
Illinois
dumbest
government.
thing
And
ever
his
put
late
on a
night
fucking car.
pitching
Besides
out
the
that last
fucking
minute
screen
appearance
in the
before it's
dash.
canceled in May of 2026.
You can't use your
with
cell
Stephen
phone
Colbert actually saying
in
it's interesting
30
you're
plus
criticizing
states
the
in your
Texas map
car.
when look at Illinois' map. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing.
But
and I'm sure you
Tesla's
all
got
have
a
seen
fucking
that
screen the size of
across
my
many
monitor
different channels and networks
in the
over the
dashboard.
course of the last week. But
Oh, that's
the
totally
height of
fine.
hypocrisy. So perhaps this media today in the
Hell,
James S. Brady
my
briefing room will give a
2019
fair
Toyota
diagnosis to what President
has
Trump
2
has to present
screens
today, because a lot of it is
in
relatively
the dash. Got the
unknown.
regular
We'll
one
see
with the
what
radio and
president
everything.
has to say as we'll go there live now.
And then
to
the one in the
the
center
Brady briefing room
of the
and the
gauges.
cabinet and
Ooh,
President
look at Pete
Donald
Hegseth.
Trump. Enjoy.
Now, I will say this. You're on probably worldwide television. Look at the guy on the very left side. You can't make sure your fucking tie's straight. Seriously, bro? Looks like a 5-year-old put your fucking tie on.
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly, like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital.
All right. To answer this, well, to put a question to this. How are you supposed to have two hands on the wheel if you're driving a manual transmission car? Especially when you're driving a manual transmission car in a city, you've only got one hand on the wheel.
Back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough. And they know what's happening. And they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. Mm-hmm. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much.
All right. Who the hell still buys a newspaper? The last time I bought a newspaper was when me and my wife was packing to move from Phoenix to Mesa. I bought a newspaper, an Arizona newspaper, to wrap up our dishes. Nobody buys a newspaper anymore.
Higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row.
All right, here's my question about homeless people. Because Phoenix has the whole area right in downtown Phoenix called the Zone with like 1,000 homeless people. And they go in there every year and run everybody out. And within a month, everybody's back. You're always going to have homeless people. Always. Because unless you cut housing prices, rent, and everything in half, a lot of people can't afford to rent a house, own a home, rent an apartment, a 400 square foot studio apartment here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. If you want it in a decent neighborhood, it's going to be $1,200 a month. You can find them for $800 a month, but they're going to be in the ghetto, nasty areas. $800 a month for a 400 square foot studio. And you're going to have to share the studio with roaches. Me and my wife's place here, $1,700 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 840 square feet. I'm sure Azralina's rent or home payment or whatever is probably 3 or 4 times that. Until we bring down housing prices, there will always be homeless. Because right now, if my wife got hurt at either one of her jobs, we got 1 month. 1 month and we're fucking homeless.
We had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, when you say take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. Is that where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story.
All right, how many of these crimes are done by black people? Because there for a long time, there was a hashtag running around all over the internet called Black Fatigue. I mean, hell, Carnival Cruise Lines had to totally redo their whole thing about who can be on their cruise ships and what they can bring on the cruise ships because of black people. I can go on Instagram right now and within an hour find 500 videos of black people doing the most crazy fucking shit. Fighting, shooting. I just shared a video. It was somewhere on the East Coast. They were at a school supply function, giving out school supplies, making sure all the kids had all their school supplies. A fight broke out. Someone got fucking shot. Like, seriously? And I know every time I post hashtag Black Fatigue, everybody's like, you're fucking racist. You don't know how black culture is. Then prove to me what black culture is, because the only thing I'm seeing is a bunch of black people fighting. My wife, who is black, by the way, is totally like, what the fuck are they doing?
About a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America, really. It's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that have
Then start fucking arresting these people. Make an example out of these people. You shoot and murder someone, death penalty, right then and there. You don't pass go, you don't collect $200, you don't sit your happy ass in prison for 20 years. You get proven guilty in a court of law, the bailiff walks up, blap in the back of the head, and you're done.
bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go.
Then we have to get extremely tough on fucking crime. Period. Extremely tough. But oh, what does my wonderful state of Arizona do? They're issuing tickets for people driving slower than the flow of traffic on the freeways, no matter what the speed limit is. So now me and my wife have to keep up with the flow of traffic or risk getting pulled over, getting a ticket for impeding traffic. So say the speed limit is 65. The flow of traffic is running 95, which, yeah, it sounds like a joke, but I've been doing 90 here on the freeways and been fucking past like I was sitting still. If I'm doing, say, 70 miles an hour and traffic's running 90, I can get pulled over and get a fucking ticket now.
Further, we're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the Doge staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought,
all right, you want to know what you can do to stop all this? Make it federally legal, all 50 states, every city, every county, everywhere. Open carry. Somebody comes up on you acting a fool, put 2 fucking holes in them. Done. Within a year's time, there won't be any more criminals because there will be no more criminals alive.
he was dead with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the.
All right, you want to know where all these crimes and violence happens? In cities and states that are anti-gun. Washington, D.C., anti-gun. Chicago, anti-gun. Baltimore, anti-gun. Los Angeles, anti-gun. Phoenix, Arizona, open carry state. You don't hear about that shit happening here. Because trust me, if it was happening here, I'd be making videos about it. It don't happen here. Because motherfuckers in Arizona shoot back. Why do you think Tombstone happened here?
White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was.
Now, I know this is going to trigger a lot of people, but if you have mental health problems, then you don't deserve to be out in public. Any mental health problem. If you can't pass a cognitive test, knowing right from wrong, you don't deserve to be in public, period. But oh, that's too cruel and mean. But remember, people, I'm a 2-time stroke survivor. So I've got 2 sections of my brain that don't work anymore. And it seems like I'm smarter than 95% of the people in this world. I know what a boy is. I know what a girl is. I watched Kindergarten Cop and listened to that little kid. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. I know right from wrong.
Shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the.
We need to ban the term politically correct. Who cares if it's politically correct if it's the fucking right thing to do for the betterment of society? A lot of these slums, and Phoenix has them too, they just need torn the fuck down. Torn the fuck down. But no, Democrats love them. Look what old Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is doing. Taking people's land to build low-income housing, aka slums, aka projects.
Slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and
yeah, knock the hell out of them, lock them up, and then take whatever vehicle they were on, whether it be a ATV, electric bike, whatever, and fucking crush that shit. They're doing it in California now. If you're caught doing that stupid street takeover shit or street racing, you get fucking caught, your car gets impounded and crushed. I watched a video a couple days ago of a bunch of like Mustangs, Corvettes, Camaros getting fucking squished. You know, high horsepower, really nice fucking cars just getting fucking squished. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. We, the people, don't need cars that have more than 150 horsepower. My little Toyota CHR, 140 horsepower, gets me and my wife around just fucking fine. You don't need a 6, 7, 8, 900 horsepower car. The new Corvette ZL1 or ZR, whatever the top Corvette is right now, it's got like 1,200 horsepower. Why? Why does an untrained driver, just because they got a big fat bank account, need a car with 1,200 fucking horsepower? Cletus McFarland, who's a trained race car driver, said it was the scariest thing he ever drove.
told them, whatever happens, you know, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them.
You know, here's something that might trigger everybody. I've been this way my whole fucking life. And I have told my daughter, because she has a hot head big time. You hit a man, that man has every right to hit you back. Women wanted equality. Well, that doesn't give you the right to hit a fucking man without the man putting you on your fucking ass. Now, I'm not saying the man beat the holy living shit out of a woman. But if you're there swinging on a fucking man, to me, he's got every right to knock you the fuck out.
Police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any such, so this, and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems.
I don't remember what state it is, probably California. Just passed a law where if you've got AIDS, you don't have to tell the person that you're bumping uglies with. So you can literally give someone a life-threatening disease. They can't sue you. You don't have to tell them. Thank God I'm fucking married.
Directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central: no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it.
Hey,
passed.
has Pam
Bondi with Republicans?
always had that?
Think of this.
That little
probably won't get
Joker
one Democrat
slit,
vote because they have no idea what they're doing.
You know,
that's why they want men playing in
lip.
women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody. Everybody transgender. And they've just
no
got
cash bail needs
in an
to
election
be
in a
nationwide.
landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the
along with something that I've been posting all over my social media, and I get 1,000 comments from pissed off women. I think before a man signs the birth certificate, it should be federal law that he takes a paternity test, ensuring that before he signs his name on the birth certificate, that is his blood child. I watched a court video about a month ago. The guy did 5 years in prison. This woman is taking him for everything that he's fucking got. Come to find out, he's not the father. The judge asked the woman if she knows who the father is. And she goes, yes, we talk all the time. And if you're a woman that's totally against a paternity test, why? Oh, you got to trust me. Well, I can make videos all day long showing court cases where you are not the father. You are not the father. I mean, hell, Maury Povich ran his fucking show on that shit.
The other day, the certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard. anybody come. Nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it.
And women don't need to play in men's sports or officiate men's sports. What am I talking about? There's a video floating around all over the internet right now. It's a baseball video. The umpire is a woman and called a very blatant ball a strike. I mean, it was so blatant. Me with my bad eyes, I could see it. She called it a strike.
But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it too. We have to, because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say we only have 30 policemen or women. He said we have 3,500.
Exactly. And it's all these women. Every time I post it on social media, these women are like, what, you don't trust us? No. And also, anybody watching, if you're going to get married, get a fucking, I don't remember what it's called. That fucking contract thing before you're fucking married. Where if your marriage ends, you leave with what you came into the relationship with. He leaves what he came into the relationship with. But also, whoever cheats, they have to pay spousal support to the other person. Whether it's a man cheating or it's a woman cheating, they have to pay spousal support to the other person for the rest of that person's life. So say you're 20 years old, you get married and you fucking cheat, then you got to pay spousal support to the person that you married, that you cheated on, for the rest of their life, which could possibly be 80 plus fucking years. Period. It's just fucking common sense. We need to hold people fucking accountable. And this whole joint bank account shit. Me and my wife have been married for almost 10 years. We don't have a joint bank account. Period. I have no money myself unless somebody cash apps me a money, or if I sell. Yeah, prenuptial agreement. But I have no money myself. My channel is in limbo right now because I need $40 to be able to renew my editing software. We don't have it. We had to dip into our savings that we're trying to save to get the fuck out of here, to be able to pay the bills. It's fucking bullshit.
We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened.
Okay, well, here's something that people don't understand about 3,500 police officers. Well, let's just say 3,000 to make it easy to do math. How many of those 3,000 police officers are out on the street actively patrolling the fucking streets? Because you take 3,000 police officers, divide them by 3 shifts, you got 1,000 cops per shift. Then you take off probably 300 of them because they're sitting. Yeah, they're a police officer, but they're a paper pusher. They're a detective, some investigator, but they're a police officer. Then you got the weekend shift. So all in all, you might end up, you got 3,000 police officers, you might end up with 500 cops. That's not very many fucking cops. Yeah, looking at the big number seems really good. Look, our apartment complex probably has 10 maintenance men. My washing machine is still fucking broken. The portable air conditioner that the office let me borrow so I wouldn't die here when our air conditioner went out last week is still sitting in my fucking living room. But, oh, they've got 10 maintenance people. You know, if you looked at back when I managed a bar, I had 20 bartenders for one bar. I still didn't have enough because certain bartenders wouldn't work certain shifts. I ran 2 shifts of bartenders, so I had 10 bartenders that worked days, 10 bartenders that worked nights. Then I had the Friday and Saturday night bartending team. That was 2, because Friday, Saturday nights was our big nights. Had 2. There was many times that I'd have, me being a manager, I'd have to go 10 bar because I didn't have a bartender.
2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said, there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days.
That's simply on the fact that you let Border Patrol do their job. I restreamed Oreo Express, you know, Josh, and seeing him down at the border one night, sitting there at a fucking gate, big, beautiful 30-foot tall border wall, big, tall gate. He's sitting there, headlight shining through the fence so we can see what's going on. 2 illegals come walking up. What pulls up next? A white with a big green stripe Border Patrol van. They back up to the gate. The gate opens up. They back through. The 2 illegals climb into the back of the Border Patrol van. The Border Patrol van pulls through and drives off, and the gate closes. Biden was using our Border Patrol as a fucking taxi service. Now that Trump is in and he's letting Border Patrol do their fucking job, nobody's coming over.
Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that
What I just
we will
said.
deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests.
I just saw a video that is blowing up on the internet. People are so pissed. I think it was in the UK somewhere. This 15-year-old girl goes into a McDonald's after 5 p.m. Kids under a certain age are not allowed in fast food places after 5 p.m. She gets drug out and arrested. And everybody was like, oh my God, she's just going to the McDonald's. You guys don't understand. There's a rule there, a law that's probably set in there because of a bunch of hood rat fucking kids that you're not allowed to be in a restaurant by yourself without a a parent or guardian after 5 p.m. And everybody's losing their fucking mind over it. I made a comment like, yeah, the police are doing their fucking job. She knew she wasn't allowed in there after 5 p.m. I bet I've got 1,000 comments, calling me a piece of shit, a bootlicker, everything under the sun, because I'm standing up for law and order. Now, 30 years ago, I was a dumbass. I was in and out of jail all the fucking time. But I realized that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in fucking jail. I don't break the fucking law. I used to break every fucking law in the books. I was the most anti-police, anti-government person out there. I didn't even want to run license plates on my fucking cars because fuck the federal government. Fuck the state government. I sold drugs. I don't know how many pounds of marijuana I hauled out of New Mexico. Pounds. Crossed several state fucking lines. Would I do it now? Fuck no. I don't break the fucking law. But everybody else is like, laws are meant to be broken. No, they're not. That's why it's a fucking law.
And that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need 1/4 of an inch more turn for safety reasons. We're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi.
If you want to fix the roads and stop potholes, you got to do what Arizona does. Rubberized asphalt. What is that? They grind up old used car tires, truck tires, farm tires, and they mix it in with the asphalt. Why does that work? One, it makes the road a lot more quiet. The road has a lot more grip because it's half fucking rubber. But the road can move and flex and give. So it doesn't, buckle under the heating and thawing. We don't have potholes here in Arizona. None. I'd have to drive. I'd probably spend all day driving around, trying to find a fucking pothole in an actual state maintained road. Now there are some city streets and stuff that have potholes, but it's the ghetto cities here that end in Dale, Avondale, Glendale. But rubberized asphalt, it's a twofold win. Gets rid of old used tires, and it makes the road better because it's got rubber in it.
Is fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him. Most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the.
See, I like that about Trump. He will talk shit about you and threaten your job to your fucking face. If you don't do what I hired you for, bye, Felicia. Now, what I don't like about Trump is the fact that he doesn't have a good track record for picking honest, trustworthy people. Remember Mike Pence, Bill Barr, the woman standing to his left that said she had the Epstein files on her desk. Still don't have the Epstein files. Came out and did the phase 1. Had all them social media influencers out there waving the fucking binders about the Epstein files. Phase 1. And then nothing. I think what it needs to be, you tell a lie on national television and you're an elected official. Your ass gets called in front of fucking Congress to explain why you fucking told that fucking lie. Just like parents do with their kids. Why did you lie to me? Next time I'm going to beat your ass. Well, next time if you're an elected official, you lie for a second time, hit the fucking road. You're fucking done. Gone. Period. See ya.
Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you.
All the DEI
This city will no longer
bullshit.
be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed, by the way. We're going to have National Guard. But
see, here's something that always gets people pissed at me. I'm a firm believer in you attack a law enforcement officer, period. No matter if it's a county sheriff, Joe Blow that's working some city cop job, or even a fucking security guard like my wife. You attack a law enforcement officer, minimum 10 years in prison. Right there. Don't pass go, don't collect $200. 10 fucking years in fucking prison. That'd make him think twice about attacking cops.
Pete Hegseth will.
Then maybe we wouldn't need 3,500 fucking police officers because, you know, it takes 6 fucking cops to take down a person because people are so spun out on fucking drugs and fucking energy drinks. And oh, everybody, don't drink fucking energy drinks. If you think I'm full of shit, call a cardiologist. Book an appointment to go see a cardiologist. And ask that cardiologist, if you guys don't know what a cardiologist is, it's a doctor that just deals with the fucking heart. Ask him about energy drinks. And he'll tell you that they will fucking kill you.
Tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, "Oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in." It's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it.
I would love to see our military on our fucking city streets because people fail to realize part of their oath. I don't know exactly how the oath goes, but it's foreign and domestic. I'd be fucking happy as hell to see an Abrams tank rolling down fucking I-10 freeway. Oh, I'd be like, yeah, go fucking get them. We used to have the toughest sheriff in the whole fucking country here in Arizona. People gave him so much shit. Oh, Sheriff Joe's a piece of shit. You know, Tent City is inhumane for people who have to stay in tents in Phoenix, Arizona. The only time I ever saw the tents is when I drove fucking past. I wasn't dumb enough to break the law, knowing that if I broke the law, I'd be going to the fucking tents. Having to wear pink underwear, eating crappy food. And what was parked right out front of the Maricopa County Jail? A fucking tank. That was fucking awesome.
We've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country.
Here's something that he just mentioned drugs. Here's something that needs to fucking happen right now. And I wouldn't mind if my taxes were raised to pay for it. Every single elected official gets a fucking monthly drug test. Just a fucking random walk up to Nancy Pelosi, hand her a fucking cup and be like, let's go to the bathroom. You got to piss in this cup. It's a random drug test. My wife has to pass drug test to be able to keep her fucking job. Why don't our elected officials or people on all these fucking food stamps and shit that are bitching now because they can't spend, you know, $500 a month on fucking junk food? Our federal government isn't saying you can't spend $500 a month on junk food. You just have to spend your own fucking money. And all these videos I've been seeing about these people bitching about Trump messing with food stamps, they've all got fucking fake eyelashes, fake nails, and they weigh about 400 fucking pounds.
Country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals.
Yep.
And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the D.C. streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. but we're rougher and tougher.
You want to know how to get rid of criminals? Start issuing hunting permits for them. Oh, we have these 10 people that are the 10 most wanted people in such and such city. Posted on all these hunting pages and be all like, we have a $5,000 bounty on this person's head. It's open season on Joe Blow. Let all these rednecks in these square body Chevys and their 30-06s go in there and take these fucking pieces of shit out, like how it used to be. Remember back in the old West days where they had wanted posters? Wanted, $1,000, dead or alive. Some dumbass. We need to bring that back. That would get criminals to really stop doing their shit when they know that all eyes were on them. And I mean all eyes. You start putting bounty on criminals. Every fucking moment that my car is sitting in front of my apartment and my wife is sleeping, I'd be out on the fucking streets. I'd be hunting them fuckers down.
Look at these people here. Nothing, you know. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never.
And pedophiles don't deserve to breathe. Period. You hurt a fucking kid, no matter who you are. If it's proven that Donald Trump hurt a fucking kid in this whole Epstein shit, he doesn't deserve to fucking breathe. I don't care who it is. My brother did 3 years in fucking jail and was all whining about it when he got out. And I was like, fuck you, dude. You were drunk and you shot up your fucking house with your family in it. I don't want to talk to you ever again. And he was like, what the fuck, man? I was drunk. And I'm like, so? Being drunk isn't a fucking excuse. Being drunk is because you're a fucking weak piece of shit.
Be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's Interior, but he's in charge of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is the oldest federal police force in the nation. They were formed in 1791 by none other than President George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know, that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing the laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police that you see around the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law again. Thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcement you're making today.
Thank you. Very good. Great job. You did.
As it
Thank you
should
very
be.
much.
Let cops do their
Could you
fucking
say
job.
something about the military, if you would?
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we've mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the president noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own. And we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing, working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city.
All right. You want to know how the best thing you could do for ICE officers? They come under attack. Fucking shoot back. Start laying these fucking protesters out with fucking rubber bullets or fucking pepper balls. Shoot fucking back. Because when you're attacking someone and then you get a rubber bullet the size of a C battery in your fucking chest, you ain't going to be attacking very much. Or you get a pepper ball in your fucking face, you're not going to be attacking.
Is safe. This city is beautiful. And as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong. We're right behind you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about here.
Sure, President. Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gaddy Serralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in DC is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge.
It's so
and
awesome.
She
that she
is
has
going
that
to be
job.
talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more.
All right. Here's my idea about juvenile crime. And it will stop in a heartbeat. Say you're a juvenile and you break the fucking law, do some stupid shit. You not only get charged with the crime, your parents get charged with the crime. So say, you know, that case where that kid stabbed that other kid in the freaking chest and killed him. Parents need fucking charged too. Hold the parents accountable for what their kids are doing, and the shit will fucking stop. And also, you need to roll back the oh, you can't spank your fucking kids. No, fuck that. But also, parents, you need to stop giving your kids that are fucking like under 5 years old fucking iPads and then making videos, showing how fucking triggered your kids are when you take the iPad or the tablet or whatever away from them. You gave it to them because you don't want to be a fucking parent. Because as soon as you walk in the door, you're on this. You're on your fucking cell phone. And you don't want to be a parent. So, here, have a tablet, have an iPad, watch YouTube. Now everybody's bitching all over social media because apps like Spotify, YouTube, Discord, if they think that you're a minor, they're going to make you show an ID. And people are all like, it's an invasion of my privacy. No, it's not. I've applied several times for the YouTube Partner Program. I was a member of the YouTube Partner Program and monetized on my old Broken Patriot channel. I had to give them access to my fucking bank account. I had to show an ID and everything. So all these people that are like, it's an invasion of my fucking privacy. Bitch, you have no privacy.
Teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-bys. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together. We fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room.
Okay, I hear a lot of talking. I want to see action by January 1st next year. All these major cities that have all this fucking crime, that crime should be in half, especially in DC. The crime should be in fucking half. That's 6 fucking months. If you can't, with all these people and the National Guard, you can't put a stop to this in 6 fucking months, or at least cut it in fucking half, then you're all just blowing a lot of fucking hot air. I think they're all blowing a lot of hot air.
We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just at the wharf a few days ago, the area of the wharf, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families in tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench. In the middle of families around, they administer Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going.
Yeah, somebody overdoses because they're dumb enough to take fucking drugs. No more saving their fucking life. Let them fucking die. You go in there, you give them Narcan, you save their fucking life. They're going to go out and do it again. Period. People that do drugs, if they die, bye, see ya. I'm not going to cry a fucking tear for you. You made that choice. I've had friends that have gotten DUIs and it came to me all fucking like, oh my God, I got a DUI. And I just flat out told them, because you're a fucking dumbass. You drank, got drunk, and you fucking drove. You deserve everything you fucking got. You could have hit a family and killed them. If it was me, your first DUI, you don't have a driver's license anymore. Your vehicle that you're driving gets impounded. I don't care if it's your only vehicle and you and your wife have to share it. That car gets impounded, you don't get it back. If the bank has a lien on it, the bank gets the fucking car back. You take the fucking bus. Period. No more license. And if you are proved that you left a bar or a restaurant and you were drunk, and you got pulled over, and it says, "Oh, Joe Blow left such and such sports bar." That sports bar loses their liquor license right then and there. Boom, done, because they overserved that person. Bars and restaurants are not allowed to serve you so much alcohol to where you're fucking drunk. Period. I used to manage a bar. I managed a bar for years. You're not allowed to overserve someone.
Going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Cash, talk about Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
The other night when me and my wife went to that comedy show, I was really craving a beer. I had 2 beers, 2 Michelob Ultras. They were ice cold. They went down great. There's no way in hell that I would have tried to drive home. My wife had nothing to fucking drink. If she would have drank something, we would have taken a fucking Uber home. Period. You don't need to drink and drive. Period.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership. Deputy Attorney General, the rest of our
My
interagency
God,
partners.
he's so short.
Mr. President, the following is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and
I'll
found.
call this cat.
That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've
He's
had
5'9".
a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That is a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people.
All right, you want to stop this whole fentanyl shit? You get caught with fentanyl, you're forced to take some because you will probably fucking die. And if you have a car, a home, everything that you own gets seized by the fucking government and sold at auction. Make it so fucking hard for these drug dealers to do this shit. No matter what fucking drug it is, except for weed. Weed should be legal, period. If it could be grown in a fucking garden, it should be fucking legal. But as for like cocaine, meth, fentanyl, no, you got to take a big fucking dose of it, which will probably fucking kill you. And then we don't have to worry about prosecuting you, doing all this shit. No, fuck that. And to offset all the cost of all these other fucking criminals, your shit all gets fucking seized and sold at fucking auction.
People this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administrations, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi. Your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops. Let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions. And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month.
Right, here's something that needs to happen. No fucking police force in this country should still be driving Crown Victorias. The last Crown Victoria rolled off the assembly line in, I think, 2011. Let me see here. When was the last Crown Victoria made? Yeah, September 15, 2011. Meaning that if your police force is still using Crown Vics, that car is soon to be able to fucking get a driver's license. It's a 14-year-old car. No.
We arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the intel they need, when you work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gaddy and I go way back to Miami, these guys are great leaders of the respective departments and law enforcement capacities. And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to do it the right way, the lawful way, and we're going to make sure Washington, D.C. is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cash. So the process begins right now. It actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people, but it's going to be something that will be pretty amazing to you as you watch it. And I think most of you say it's a beautiful thing to do it right. We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. They're very dirty, we got a lot of problems. But we've already started that. We're moving the encampments away, trying to take care of people. Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. Some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea, but they're there. Getting rid of the people from underpasses and public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go, and we're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort, the 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on, and much more if necessary, much more. You remember I said, I offered 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent. But I said, if you need them, we'll give you 10,000 of the military or the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen, and that'll take place very rapidly, and that'll be done in conjunction with Pam and with Pete and everybody else. Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world, and we're going to make it that. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We're going to make it beautiful, so beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that, and I was very good at fixing things up. I like fixing things up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom, I think, anywhere. We need it. I would have certainly loved to have had it today.
See, that's something that I've never understood since they started talking about this ballroom. How has there not always been a ballroom at the White House? It doesn't make fucking sense.
I think we would have filled it up. A lot of you are standing outside, can't get in this room. I've never seen the room like this, which tells me that you want to talk about, I mean, this was a DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC, but I'm going to put that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester, and she became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into showbiz because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into showbiz. So a lot of people don't, they think of Jeanine as showbiz. Actually, showbiz was not her thing. And she did great. She was on along with a couple of other of my friends on the #1 show, and she did great. But this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on what she has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. You know, we have some open spots, and we're going to take people because the judges are letting killers out. They're just saying, go. That's okay. Don't worry about it. So we're putting some Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Janine recommended. Janine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, and we can probably create some more. We need them. Janine, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here.
She looks really damn good for
come
74.
and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens, and it starts today. But it's not going to end today because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the state attorney general, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids because I can't arrest them. I can't prosecute them. They go to family court and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Janine.
You're welcome.
Great job.
Man, I love that woman.
If I could, I just signed some executive orders. I'd like to have Will please come up and we'll let the people know what we signed. Do you want to put them down?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
A short while ago in the Oval Office, President Trump signed 2 crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense.
Okay, watch. There's going to be a judge that's going to come out and say, Trump can't do this. I don't allow it.
To utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well. These are bold, decisive steps intended to combat the out-of-control crime conditions we've seen on D.C.'s streets for far too long. And I, for one, am deeply proud to be part of an administration that's finally coming to terms with these issues, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you. So, just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast. But we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years, no curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, it's harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others, and they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They're going to do a big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated. We made it use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch, so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were 2 ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope, but everybody just left. And that was the last problem we ever had. That was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild. And somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact because you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on. If I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington's name. This was a sick, woke culture that I think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category, but they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day and I said, what a beautiful place. But if there's crime all over the streets, when you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful. But we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime, and we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels and all of the things they've done to hurt this city. And we're going to restore the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants it to be. It's going to be something very special. All of these people are really tough. Could I shake your hand, Getty, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic, like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. You know, they want to be safe, and they have families too. So it's an honor to have such a large group. I've done this for years now, hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact, I'm sure it's a violation of every fire code. But we'll let you stay anyway. You're taking a chance. And with that, we'll say, maybe if you could, oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If we could keep the first questions perhaps to this subject, and then we'll go on to a few others. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Can you talk about how personal of an issue this is? You talked about flying over the Washington Monument and seeing the pride of what DC is. And do you believe that the status of the city, the cleanliness, the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the Capitol, look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But I was, a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great thing. They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world right now. The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars with Pakistan and India. We just solved one. Azerbaijan and, as you know, and Armenia. A war was raging for 37 years. And the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. You know, they've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years. One was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war. And you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them done. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, you know, the metal things that are always, somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken and bad, but here they're really bad. And we're going to either put new or fix it. And it's not expensive. It's not really expensive. And we're going to fix our roads a little bit. We're going to clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday, the people go out and they wash their sidewalks in front of their stores or their houses. They scrub. They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet. I don't think, Gaddy, we're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But we're going to make it clean. But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of our country. And when they see a bad city, you know, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart. And he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also.
The kitchen's worse.
Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us. So it's a very good question.
Mr.
Actually.
President, sorry. Question for you on the specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action to what we've seen in DC? Any other questions, sir? There's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things. But for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, I mean, we're just going to see what happens with it all. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll self clean up, and maybe they'll self do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem.
I don't understand dirty cities. Now you guys have seen me and my wife drive all over this fucking valley. Have you guys saw any trash? No. Because people don't throw trash on the fucking ground.
I mean, if you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today. And if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful. I have zero doubt about that. It's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. Everyone said, Biden used to say, I need legislation. I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great. As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did a great job. There's no games. They didn't play games. And we're going to have the same thing here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems. Let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it. We have it coming down. But hopefully LA is watching. That mayor also. The city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there. And I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. It was, their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered, almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately, Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding the homes then and there. And the mayor said we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years? Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately. 2 years. And she drew it back. Well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about putting, this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income
Smart
housing. I made
cities.
money with
Remember that,
low-income housing.
everyone.
I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get. And it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, you know, they had tremendous, they loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff. And some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods was incredible. And you know what? I watch people on television. They want to go. They want to leave. They've lost their spirit. They've lost their heart because the mayor's incompetent. And Gavin Newsom is incompetent. Got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent. And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there and I said, I won't be president when it comes, but bad things happened and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things. And I hope 250 is going to be, the 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
Thank you. The China tariff deadline is tonight, but do you plan to extend that?
We'll see what happens. China's been, we've been dealing very nicely with China, as you probably have heard. They have tremendous tariffs that they're paying to the United States of America. And we'll see what happens. They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
You mentioned your upcoming meeting with President Putin. Can
Yeah.
you tell us what you hope to get out of that and whether you consider inviting President Zelensky to join?
So you have to understand, this is a war that should have never happened. This is a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president. Would have never happened. It was the apple of his eye. I got along very well with President Putin. But if you look, under President Bush, they took a lot of territory. Under President Obama, they took a lot of territory. Under Biden, they essentially took the whole thing. You know, it's just a question of time. Under Trump, you know what they took? Nothing. I was the one that said, you can't build your pipeline that was half built. I came in, I stopped the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. Nobody knows that, you know. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. You might have not even heard of it. Biggest pipeline in the world. I stopped it. I was not a friend of Russia, but I got along well with Putin. It's always good to get along with other countries if possible, but that doesn't mean you roll over like Biden did. Biden came in and he immediately approved the pipeline. I couldn't believe it. Then they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. I wasn't tough. I was the toughest. Putin said, if you're not tough, I would hate like hell to see you. I stopped the biggest economic development job, the biggest job that Russia had ever built. I stopped it. It was dead. And this low IQ president came in and he let them build a pipeline and supply oil and gas all over Europe, you know? So this is really a feel-out meeting a little bit. And President Putin invited me to get involved. He wants to get involved. I believe he wants to get it over with. Now, I've said that a few times, and I've been disappointed because I'd have like a great call with him, and then missiles would be lobbed into Kiev or some other place, and you'd have 60 people laying on a road dying. I said, that's cold. But it's a violent war. 5,000 to 7,000 people a week are dying. And you know, there's nobody from here. They're all Russian and Ukrainian people, and some people from the cities, much smaller number, but still, those missiles do damage and they kill a lot of people. But mostly soldiers, and they're young soldiers. Although in the case of Ukraine, they're getting much older. They're drafting 60-year-olds now.
That's crazy.
It's a terrible thing to witness, and I think I have an obligation. Look, this is Joe Biden's war. This is not my war. I made a deal with NATO a month ago. You covered it very accurately, actually. We don't pay anything anymore. You know, we're not paying anything. They are buying things from us, and NATO is paying us. I got it raised from 2% of GDP to 5%. And they're paying us for everything that we send. We're not paying. But Biden approved $350 billion. Europe has spent $100 billion. The money that's been spent and the death is incredible. It's the worst thing that's happened, by far the worst that's happened since World War II. So I'm going in to speak to Vladimir Putin, and I'm going to be telling him, you got to end this war. You got to end it. And he wasn't going to mess with me. This war would have never happened. You know, we had a discussion about it one time, and we never had that discussion again. Would have never happened. And when the election was rigged, and then Biden took office, which was barely took office. The auto pen took office. Bad things started happening. Bad things, stupid things were said. And it ended up in a war. And you know, and I don't believe this will happen anymore because I have that pretty well covered. This could end up in a third world war. This could have been a third world war. I don't think that's going to happen now. But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that meeting, immediately, maybe as I'm flying out, maybe as I'm leaving the room, I'll be calling the European leaders who I get along with very well. And, you know, I have a great relationship, I think, with all of them. And I get along with Zelensky, but, you know, I disagree with what he's done. Very, very severely disagree. This is a war that should have never happened, wouldn't have happened. But I'll be speaking to Zelensky. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders. I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap because there'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody to the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff for both. So there's good and there's bad. But it's very complex because you have lines that are very uneven, and there'll be some swapping. There'll be some changes in land, and the word that they will use is, you know, they make changes. We're going to change the lines, the battle lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of Ukraine. They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean. You know, in real estate, we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. That's gone. Other than one small area, Odessa, it's a small area. There's just a little bit of water left. So I'm going to go and see the parameters. Now, I may leave and say, good luck. And that'll be the end. I may say this is not going to be settled. I mean, there are those that believe that Putin wanted all of Ukraine. I happen to be one of them, by the way. I think if it weren't for me, he would not be even talking to anybody else right now. But I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. I'm then going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country. It's a massive country. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. It's a massive, it's by far, from the standpoint of land, it's by far the largest. They have tremendous potential in Russia to do well. They're not doing well. Their economy is not doing well right now because it's been very well disturbed by this. It doesn't help when the president of the United States tells their largest or second largest oil buyer that we're putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. And then they say, gee, he wasn't so tough. Nobody else would have done that. And I haven't stopped there. I mean, look, I was all set to do things far bigger than that, but I got a call that they'd like to meet, and I'm going to see what they want to meet about. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties. You know, it takes two to tango, right? So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that, I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better. They would have been in Kiev in 4 hours going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins. You know that, right? I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But I'm going to meet with President Putin, and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal.
If not,
I will tell you this. I've seen a poll coming out of Ukraine. 88% of the people would like to see a deal made. And if you go back 3 years, everybody was gung-ho for war. Everybody's gung-ho for war until you have it. It's an amazing thing. I had it with a couple of countries where I couldn't get a deal done with one particular country. And I just couldn't. The guy's great. He's a friend of mine. Great. Good leader. Tough as hell. I couldn't get the deal done. And then he went into war for a short period of time. You know where I'm talking about. First term. And it was nasty. Guys being killed all over the place. And he went through 1 week of war, and I was able to get the deal done. He said, this is nasty. Yes, please.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you were saying there. First of all, Volodymyr Zelensky is not invited on Friday?
He wasn't a part of it. I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. He's been there for 3.5 years. Nothing happened.
And what is the definition?
I mean, do you want somebody that's been doing this for 3.5 years? What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is, because there could be many definitions. You're talking about a very large and complex situation. Now, I tell you, the war that I just settled with Azerbaijan and with, as you know, and Armenia was almost as complex as this one, having to do with routes, trade.
Meeting on Friday with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be
How will
made.
you know that?
Because that's what I do. I make deals. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you two questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced or advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete. No.
Obsolete chip. Well, and then 15% of the
I
profits.
mean the
come back.
20s. No. This is an old chip that China already has. And I deal with Jensen, who's a great guy, and NVIDIA. The chip that we're talking about.
NVIDIA makes graphics
it's,
cards for
it's an old chip.
computers.
China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it. Or they have a combination of two will make up for it and even then some. Now, Jensen's a very brilliant guy, and Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's possible I'd make a deal, a somewhat enhanced in a negative way Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They won't have it for 5 years. But the H20 is obsolete. You know, it's one of those things, but it still has a market. So I said, listen, I want 20% if I'm going to approve this for you, for the country, for our country, for the U.S. I don't want it myself. You know, every time I say like 747, I want, yeah, for the Air Force. So I just wanted. So when I say I want 20, I want for the country. I only care about the country. I don't care about myself. And he said, would you make it 15? So we negotiated a little deal. So he's selling a essentially old chip that Huawei has a similar chip, a chip that does the same thing. And I said, good, if I'm going to give it to you, because they have a, they have a stopper, what we call a stopper, not allowed to do it. It's really known as a restrictive covenant. And I said, if I'm going to do that, I want you to pay us as a country something, because I'm giving you a release. I released them only from the H20. Now, on the Blackwell, I think he's coming to see me again about that. But that will be a unenhanced version of the big one. Like, I don't know if you know it, we will sometimes sell fighter jets to a country and we'll give them 20% less than we have. You know what I mean, right? That's the same.
So on Russia, do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the U.S. and Russia? Should their meeting go well? Should there be peace?
I do, yeah. Russia has a very valuable piece of land. If Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war, you know, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we. And they beat Napoleon. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right? From Hungary, the head of Hungary. And he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden didn't do anything to get us out of it. He could have gotten us out of that. It would have never happened. I said, so can Russia be beaten by Ukraine? He looked at me like, what a stupid question. He said, Russia's a massive country and they win their country and they win their life through wars. They fight wars. That's what they do. He said, China beats you with trade. Russia beats you with war. That was a very interesting statement. China's not beating us with trade, not when I'm in charge, but they were beating Biden with trade, but they never beat us with trade. Don't forget, China had to pay $400 billion worth of tariffs when I was last time. That was last time. And if we didn't have COVID, all of this stuff we would be loaded. We're finding hundreds of billions of dollars of cash is pouring into our country now because of tariffs. And all we're doing is we're doing what they do to us. It's so beautiful to see it. They found last month, as you saw, $25 billion of excess cash flow. They're saying, where did it?
Not to alarm you, but it's almost bikini season. And that's why I'm starting to Lumi now. Overgrown kitty.
And we're doing very well. We're really doing well. But I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good.
That wasn't me,
but it might be bad.
everyone. That
And
was
I have-
Right Side
hey,
Broadcasting.
I'm here for one reason, to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great. Complex war, a lot of bad blood, But Zelensky's been there for 3.5 years. So if you put him in a room, now I will say this, ultimately I'm going to put the two of them in a room. I'll be there or won't be there. And I think it'll get solved. Yeah, please be happy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Excuse me, I'm going to suggest, because do you have any other questions on DC? Because I don't want them to be, wait. These are incredible people. I don't want them to be standing up here on subjects. Does anybody have a question of them? And then and then you guys can leave. Okay, a question, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right.
And by the way, this is only on DC, and then they're going to leave because it's unfair to have them stand up here all day long.
I agree.
Brian.
I've got two questions for you. First, about DC. This is personal for me as well. Last year, I was robbed on the streets by one of these teenage thugs. Had a gun, got away with it. Let's talk about the effort that between law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges, because it's a recycling belt. Like these kids go, they don't fear the police. They know it. If you talk about how we've got to get these judges and put these kids behind bars, right. Adult crimes deserve adult penalties. And my second question, I'll after you answer that, please.
You want me to answer?
Or whoever it was.
Okay, it's real. Do you want me to answer it? Here's the problem. Assuming that they're 17 years, older than 17 years old, I can get the case. If they're under 18 years of age, I can only get the case if it's murder, rob one, rape, even if they shoot a gun but don't kill you, I can't get it. So the law has to be changed. As the president said, cashless bail. That has to be changed. All right. Then, even assuming I get the case, I get jurisdiction, I get a conviction, the DC Council has given the judges the ability to give probation on shootings. And so then it's up to them. All of these things, the Youth Rehabilitation Incarceration Reduction Act, and now they want to seal records. So if we work hard, we get a conviction, they want to wipe it out. So that needs all to be changed.
Okay, Mr. Question.
Pam, would you answer that also?
Yeah, and just back to that topic. Let's be clear, though. We're going to charge them, and we're going to track every single thing they do throughout every step of the court process and report back to you and let all of you know what's happening to them. Because the people who are prosecuting them, the judges who are trying them, they also need to be held accountable.
Mr. President, you also made a comment. This is the most people we've ever seen in this briefing.
I've never seen
ever, right?
I've never seen any. Where's Caroline? Where's my superstar? Caroline. Is Caroline in the back? Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline. Come here, Caroline. Come here. Is she doing a good job, by the way? Come here.
Yeah, she's doing an amazing job.
Is this the largest crowd that you've ever seen?
This is definitely the most packed briefing, and I think all of you would agree. I think it's why we need to build a ballroom.
Mr. President, I have a better idea.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
My question is this. You're building a big, beautiful ballroom.
Yeah.
Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room? Technology, more seats.
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable. So no, I don't want to make life comfortable. So look. Let's just do this. Let's do this. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal. What happens, happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know. I'll be calling the European leaders. I'm going with totally. I mean, we have a lot of talks. They're great people. They're great leaders, actually, and they want to get back. Honestly, as one of them said, I've OD'd on trying to settle Ukraine. They've OD'd, meaning they've overdosed on the settlement of Ukraine. Not a nice expression, but boy, is it accurate.
Okay,
They're
the
tired
press
of it.
briefing
They wanna get
room
back
only
to
has
spending money
49
on their
permanent
countries.
seats.
They're in.
Not a very big room.
Biden gave them $350 billion. Europe gave $100 billion. It should be much more than that. Shouldn't have been that kind of. They should have had equalization, but they didn't. But you know what? Still a lot of money. They want to get back to building their own countries. They really want it resolved. My relationship with the European leaders, as you saw, is extremely good. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Wait. And we're going to try. I'll be in touch with them. I have 5 of them call me. You think it's easy? There are a lot of European leaders, but they rely on me, very much rely on me. If it wasn't for me, this thing would never get solved until the last person breathing is dead.
Would you talk to them before?
Yeah, I did. I'm talking to them right now. So I'm talking to the European leaders. I'll be talking to President Zelensky. I'm going to get everybody's ideas. I go into that thing fully loaded right up there, and we're going to see what happens. Now, I think one of two things is going to happen. It's going to be a good meeting, and we'll go a step further. We'll get it done. I'd like to see a ceasefire very.
Oh, the new ballroom is going to be 90,000 square feet.
We're going to be dealing with the European leaders, and we're going to be dealing with President Zelensky, and hopefully we're going to have a great success. As far as this, what we did today, and I think you were here for DC more so than even Russia, because Russia will be, you know, we have a couple of days to go, but the Russia is going to be very interesting. But to me, what is very exciting, and we're going to take back our capital. We're going to make it beautiful again, but we're going to make it, more importantly, safe again. It's going to be so safe. It's going to be a model. And then we'll
That's
look at
the
other
press
cities also,
briefing
but other
room,
cities are
everybody.
studying what
Not
we're
very
doing.
big.
And you have some capable people in other cities. They can do it too. But we have a great group of professionals.
Supposedly there's a pool
We're gonna
under
have a
it.
safe, beautiful capital, and it's going to happen very quickly. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I'm so glad this is done.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have another.
We'll see the National Guard on their streets. All of them.
And the several superstars there, President Donald Trump.
But yeah, that room, looking at that picture that I just put up, isn't very big. I mean, only 49 permanent seats. That room looks to be maybe 20 by 50, maybe. I couldn't find anything on the square footage. What's crazy though, it says that there's a pool under it.
President Putin in Alaska come Friday, and he is the master at.
So on that note, everybody, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm going to end the live stream. Again, guys, if you want to donate, my Cash App is the pinned comment. I need to raise $40 in the next 20 days so I can get my editing software. If I don't re-up my editing software in the next 20 days, the price goes up $10 to $50. I'm getting a 20% discount if I can do it in the next 20 days. Let me pull it up again here. I keep everything transparent on this channel. So this is the editing software I use. And this is the basic package. I could spend like $300 and get the whole package and do some crazy shit. But you can see here that they're giving me a $10 discount. I know everyone's broke. Me and my wife are way fucking broke, trying to save up money to move. So if anybody can donate, my Cash App is the pinned comment. And on that note, everyone, have a great day.